So baseball is about to begin, but it already began. And when it began, Joe Davis was there. You, Joe, have the unique perspective, obviously, as the national voice on Fox, but as the Dodgers guy. And I can ask you what that was like to see Shohei Ohtani in Japan, because I can only imagine you got confirmation that he is, of course, the biggest star in baseball, but something otherworldly in the sports stratosphere.
Yeah, and not even just sports, Matt, but like walking around Tokyo, it's just period. He's everywhere. In every kind of ad you can possibly think of, whether it's a tea bottle or it's Hugo Boss or it's a credit card or it's a bank, he's in every window in Tokyo. So, we see how magnificent he is as a player and how much we're all into it, and why wouldn't you be? But over there, he is at the very top of the list, no matter whether you're talking about sports or entertainment, or he just is the guy in Japan, period.
So when you're traveling with the team and when he's traveling with the team, is there like special dispensations that have to be taken care of, like, and special accommodations? Because I'm so used to thinking about those travel times as like opportunities for bonding. And I don't know how realistic that is for Shohei and his teammates.
They did a good job of it, and the Dodgers have a great security team. It's definitely a bigger security team than a year and a half ago before they had Ohtani, but they do a really good job of making sure that protected isn't the word, but that he's taken care of when it comes to those things you're talking about. They still were able to do some stuff together as teammates, and the team hotel, they did a nice job of keeping separate from everything. He hosted a dinner for the team while he was there on one of the off nights, where they brought in a 5,000-pound fish and literally had sushi chefs in there, whatever you call them, with machetes, and they had music playing and these guys carving up sushi for the team on this giant table in the hotel. So they still had some time to put together events like that, some time and some privacy.
So what is this like for a Michigan kid? Like, I mean, how many times have you been over there, by the way? This wasn't your first time.
First time ever,
It
yeah.
was. Yeah. So like, I mean, to see baseball culture over there, that a lot of us envy just the opportunity to be immersed in that version of baseball culture. What stood out to you in that sense?
Yeah, baseball culture and just the culture period. And that's not to pivot from your question. I think that it's almost like the same answer. It's just this, there's a regal feel to everything over there, to the way that they treat people, to the way that they view baseball. It's a serious approach. It's a respectful approach. There's just a deep care in everything that they do. Whether that's watch the baseball game where it's dead silence as the pitch comes home, the respect and the seriousness of the next pitch. My wife was saying is the easiest time she's ever had in the concessions line, taking my kids back to get a hot dog, because nobody's leaving their seats during the game. Is that they're looking at you saying these ungrateful Americans leaving their seats during the game. But everything from the baseball game experience like that to, an Uber driver or a busboy at a restaurant, there's this level of respect and business-like perfection that comes from any person that you meet over there, that I think if you look not even that closely, I think when you hear that, it's probably evident when you're just watching a baseball game too. It's really fascinating to see the culture, to have been in the culture in baseball and just period.
Anything change for you doing play-by-play up in the booth when the sounds and the atmosphere are different?
Yeah, I don't know how it ended up changing my call, but I definitely thought about it. Definitely in my own head about it. It's like I felt like I should be doing a golf call, like third shot on the seventh. It's like it's just dead silent. I didn't love that. The environment it's good in that it's respectful and you can tell they care. But the environment's not good when you compare it to a raucous Major League Baseball postseason environment. Just totally different.
Yeah. And not, and it's also dissimilar to, like, I saw baseball in the Dominican, or if anyone has seen
Oh yeah,
baseball in Puerto Rico, it's like, it's a different atmosphere that way. It's,
for sure.
yeah, it's interesting. Did you think Otani's home run was a home run, when it
Did you hear the
happened?
call?
I think we've got the call. Robbie, do we have the call?
Oh man, you're gonna do
let
that to me?
well, just so we can talk about it together.
Yeah.
There's an absolute tank. Right center field. It is off the wall.
Oh God.
To second goes Ohtani. To home goes Ohtani. It was a home run.
Why are we doing that, Robbie? Why are we doing that to the great Joe Davis? It's real time. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. No, you obviously try to get those right, not misjudge them. I really, though, sometimes I'll misjudge them and it's like, what were you doing? You got caught up in it. I still, like, something weird happened to that ball because you saw the video and you can hear the sound. There is nothing to misinterpret there. Like, you squared it up. It sounded like a shotgun. Off of the bat, it had this majestic flight, and then it just died. Thank God at least it was a home run.
Yeah, no, I think there's some Jeffrey Meyer action there that was going on, as Jeffrey will live in eternity, forever with that one. I was so glad you guys were there. Marquee TV, the Cubs TV was there, and you guys were there. I mean, you could feel, how does that value of being present transcend the broadcast at a time like this when you get the opportunity to be there?
Yeah, we all went through it for however many games in 2020, and coming out of that where you're doing everything remotely, and it's just not the same. And especially when it's a unique environment like this, I think to really be able to tell the story of not just what it's like in the stadium, but a big part of the story is what it's like around the stadium and in the country. To be able to translate that, you have to be there. So it's one of the things to come out of COVID that's great is the technology and ability to do this remotely, but you lose a lot in doing that.
Yeah, you do. And it's understandable why some companies have kept some of those things, but it was really great that you were there, and it was fun to pivot over and listen. So back to the personal, what was it like as a Michigan kid? Like, do you have any moments of being like, oh my God, here I am, or have those kind of moments gone away at this point?
No, I tried. I hope they never do, Matt. I really am mindful about not getting to that point where everything's so I took my wife and my two oldest kids, my 8-year-old daughter and my 6-year-old son. We left the 3-year-old back with the mother-in-law. I joked with people, we left him with a bottle of milk and a truck. It'll be fine. But yeah, we took the two big kids, and it was like once a day we would say to ourselves, like, can you believe we're here? Can you believe we're in Tokyo with Ohtani's Dodgers? Like, I'm just a kid from Potterville, Michigan. I didn't leave Michigan until I was 15 years old, and that was to take a family vacation to Michigan City, Indiana. And, like, that was a big deal. So there were moments every day where it was pinch yourself stuff like that being there.
That's awesome. There's good surfing in Michigan City, Indiana, right by the power plant. For some reason, the weather makes the way.
Water. You got to be a perfect surfer.
It's exactly right. So your World Series last year, I mean, that is incredible that we had finally Dodgers Yankees, as we've been dancing around seemingly for years, and we finally got it. And the stars were the stars, which made it so special to see the greatest players rise up in those moments. Was there a moment when the bigness of that kind of hit you, or you found yourself thinking about it at all? Because it's sort of the World Series a lot of baseball has been waiting for a couple of decades, to be honest.
Yeah, and definitely us at Fox, for obvious reasons, going to rate so well. And we had fantasized about that forever. And as you started to see the teams kind of on a collision course, our eyes got wider and wider, and then it happens. And in the week leading up to it, or the few days between the championship series and the World Series, you obviously pour into the prep, and I was doing my best to do that, but also say, hey, enjoy this, because it doesn't get any better than this. You know, the matchup going in, and then game one being how it is with Freddie Freeman doing what he did, and I still have not wrapped my mind around where that moment stands in the all-time moments of baseball. But I understand that it's up there, but I just can't quite compute that. And then it was, ending for all the great moments there were, and how memorable Game 5 was for the worst reasons for the Yankees. It's a bummer that it ended so quickly. I think that matchup deserves 7 games and a few more twists and turns. But as far as the matchup going in, yeah, a dream. And then so many of those moments, even though it was 5 games, so many of those moments that I think that will live on forever whenever you're talking about the World Series. And that's what you want, right? It's come out of a fall classic like that feeling like you added to the long legacy of it.
It's a pretty ridiculously indelible moment, that Freddie Freeman grand slam like you're talking about. I don't know that I can wrap my head around it. I think that's going to be a fun one for people to try to contextualize. Mm-hmm. How early in that game, because you absolutely nailed the call, and it's just a wonderful moment. It's going to live forever. And it felt so personal, Joe. It felt so connective because it's you, because it's you and because it's Dodgers. How early in that game did the specter of Gibson even enter your mind? I wonder how much of that was rolling around your head.
Honestly, it was all month, because Freddie Freeman had been injured all month. And you're thinking about, of course, the last time the Dodgers won a full season World Series, 1988. What's the moment from that? It's Kirk Gibson limping around the bases with the walk-off home run in game 1 of the World Series. So you've kind of been thinking, hey, when is Freddie Freeman going to have his Kirk Gibson moment? Not ever fathoming that it might be game 1 of the World Series, just like it was for Kirk Gibson 36 years before that. So thinking about it as the month goes on, and then not necessarily throughout that game thinking, oh, hey, okay, and now it's game 1. So all this stuff we've been thinking about, could it really be all these parallels leading to this, Freddie Freeman and Kirk? It wasn't until, he's what, 6-7 batters away at the start of that inning.
Yeah.
So you're not thinking even at the start of the 10th inning that he's probably going to come up. And then they got to walk Mookie Betts intentionally just to get to him. What we were all looking at was, oh my gosh, Ohtani might come up with a chance to win this game. And Ohtani came up with a chance to win the game and flied out to left field, and Alex Verdugo toppled over the sidewall into the seats. So that's the moment that never happened, the moment that was going to happen that never happened. And then in a flash, Freddie's up there, because they go from retiring Ohtani and Verdugo crashing into the stands to walking Mookie Betts to here's Freddie Freeman to first pitch, game's over. So it wasn't like you could lean towards it within the game or even in the inning. I think just thankfully I have the context of being in that stadium every day for the last decade. And so that context is always on your mind. And then having had the Dodgers' entire run that October, Fox had the National League, put me in that mind frame to make that connection. And then the flight of the ball, if I hadn't come up with the connection yet, the flight of the ball was so eerily similar to the clip that we've all seen a million times.
Wow.
That it all came together for that to come into my mind.
It's an amazing moment, because we all felt the dots get connected in real time. And you've got to be thinking on all those levels. A lot of us just kind of got there in the moment, and you kind of you tapped in the putt for a lot of us, and helped us complete the thought. What is I have to ask you a couple of things about the fallout from that. How soon did you talk to Kirk, if you did talk to Kirk, who just announced, by the way, he's stepping away from Tigers broadcasts with our friend Jason Benetti? But I'm wondering if you did end up talking to Kirk not long after that.
I didn't talk to him. I talked to one of the Dodgers writers who had talked to him, who passed on to me that Kirk had listened and loved the call. And
that's awesome.
obviously meant a ton. So didn't talk to him right away. He's actually going to be at opening day this year. So I'll get to catch up with him in a couple days here.
So yeah, you guys might connect about that.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. And then did MLB trademark it? I know they were going to.
Like right after, somebody sent me a link the next morning. MLB trademarks Gibby Joe Davis's call, Gibby Meet Freddie, and I was like, huh. Like I feel like I should be mad, but I also, if they did it, I'm sure I have no argument against it. And why would I argue it? I guess, but like, oh, okay, that happened fast.
But yeah, well, there's merchandise out there, So I mean, how does this work? Does a broadcaster get a piece? Are there? Have you heard anything from anybody at this point?
No, but like I don't know. That seems like I don't know. It doesn't seem like a battle that I would care to fight. You know?
No, I mean it's MLB, and you know what? The danger in this is you don't want young broadcasters thinking in terms of trademarks, right? We don't want them thinking in 3 to 5 word snippets. Right. Like we gotta get these in. So, but it also makes me wonder: have you seen the merch at all? Do you have a Gibby Meet Freddie T-shirt?
I do. A friend got me one. I signed a couple for folks going into the holidays, and I have seen those. I don't know how that works though. Like if it's trademarked by MLB. Were these grandfathered in like the 4 hours between the end of that game and the trademark becoming official? I don't know.
And I have you worn one? Have you gone to the supermarket? Going to the supermarket wearing a Gibby Meet Freddie T-shirt?
I haven't, but I can't say I'm like above that. I've got a couple. They did, earlier in my career, Hyun-Jin Ryu hit a home run, and we'd been talking about it for years, tongue in cheek, like could Hyun-Jin Ryu homer? And I said it's happened. I have a shirt that says it's happened. So I'm not, and I've worn that. Yeah, I've worked out on that. So I'm not above it.
You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. Right now I'm picturing Al Michaels in a "Do You Believe in Miracles" T-shirt walking around the supermarket. These things might be happening. It's just, it was such a wonderful series, Joe. And I've been thinking, you get the chance as the Dodgers guy to also be the national guy and call the Dodgers title. And I'm trying to think how many people have had that chance as the local and national guy to call their local team's title. Like I don't know how often it's even happened. Are you aware of anybody else in that particular club, to your knowledge?
No, I guess I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, definitely unique. It's also kind of careful what you wish for, because we had, through the years of doing the postseason, thought, that would be great for family life to be home through October and be able to cover the Dodgers and easier. And it ain't easier. It's complicated. It's a whole nother layer of things to think about, where not just hey, you got to make sure you play it down the middle. Like I do Dodger games during the regular season. That part's not hard, but trying to change the lens that the Dodgers through, because I'm delivering them on an everyday basis to people who, like they follow the team like it's their job, and it's a much different delivery of the information, a much different, like mastering the Dodgers for the regular season is a much different thing than mastering the Dodgers for the postseason. So not only do you have to do the work to master them for the postseason, I got to do that for the Yankees too. We got to do that Mets, Padres, right? But I have to also, and this is the harder step, almost like forget everything I know, because you got to totally not forget it, but it's totally different delivery and framing to the information. So that part is, like I said, careful what you wish for is just a whole nother level of thinking and a whole nother layer of probably overthinking it. Still, like I wouldn't trade it. It was a special thing to be able to cover a championship run for the team that I cover.
That's fascinating, because the lens with which you're looking at it and then delivering it, you're not carrying on a conversation you've been having all year about these guys. It's a different thing. I hadn't thought about it from your approach. It's fascinating though that, like, in terms of staying down the middle, you're feeling a level of comfort with that. And it really comes across, like even on the World Series, on the title call, it sounded like but there was such a long pause. I think it was 54 seconds, Joe, of 56 seconds as the Dodgers celebrated on the field. And I wondered what your thoughts were. And then, like, you're so good and strong about keeping those plates spinning and keeping those lenses in the right place. You do get a moment perhaps in that 50 seconds where you can think about all of it. What was going through your mind, if you remember?
I don't know if as much in those 56 seconds right there, Matt, as just in the days after the World Series. Like, whew, that was a lot. You know, Dodgers, Yankees, New York, Los Angeles. The added layer of overthinking, making sure that I was positioning and framing the information right. Like you said, comfortable and confident that I was playing it down the middle, but you know, I think it's human nature to worry about that, to make sure that not to worry about my ability to do that, but human nature to know people are going to be pissed at me. And you can say, like, that doesn't matter at all, but yeah, you want people to like you. So that, you know, that part's exhausting. So in the days after, I remember feeling like very proud of the work we did, but also like, boy, I could sleep for a few days here coming off of just all the emotions that went into doing the postseason this year.
Yeah, well, it came off really, really strong and controlled and composed, like everything that you get a chance to do. I wondered, Joe, what you think headed here into it will be your fourth year as the Fox number one, so that means 3 World Series now now under your belt. As a young broadcaster, you've really been able to share you know, some of the knowledge that you've gained along the way. Are you finding anything going into year 4 that feels a little more comfortable or feels like a new challenge you want to focus on in terms of this coming year with Fox?
Yeah, I'm always trying to find, as you kind of touched on, their ways to get better. And I think that's one of the really cool things about this job, is that it's also a maddening thing, is that there is no scoreboard and there is no defined win, loss. Like, you have to come up with a way to judge yourself, and it's very subjective and it's gray. So I'm always looking for ways to push it and to continue to get better. I continue to study storytelling. You know, there aren't books written about storytelling for play-by-play broadcasters, but just the art of storytelling. And then it's a whole nother discussion. How do you translate that to a game that has a pitch clock? It's a different deal than it used to be. Yeah. So studying that, and you know, I always go back and listen to myself and find little things that I can improve on. And just, I think too, like, my dream had always been to do the World Series, and I'm so lucky to get it at an early age. Then what? Not like what gig is next, but now that I've achieved that kind of tangible external goal, now what am I doing? I've got it. I'm going to do it the best I can, and honor the responsibility by being as good as I possibly can, never taking it for granted. But like, when you boil it down, really, what is it? And trying to tap into whatever that bigger meaning is, whatever that bigger purpose in that chair is, not just on the World Series, but anytime I broadcast, you know, my chance to bring people joy. And, you know, people turn on the TV to have a distraction. They got their own worries that they're going through at work and in their personal life. So they turn on the game. They want to have some fun. They want to smile. And I have a great responsibility and chance to provide a little bit of a smile and provide a laugh and provide a distraction from whatever's going on in people's life. So really tapping into that's always kind of been there, but really trying to tap into that and allow that to fuel what I do each day.
Maybe you should write that book on storytelling in play-by-play that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that would sell to like 48 people. But you'd be one of them, Matt.
I'd be right there with you. But really, Joe, I mean, you're like your love for Vin and the fact that you had that relationship and you are helping the storytelling stay alive while adjusting to the modern game. I mean, there's very few people with an opportunity to move the medium forward the way that you are. So I hope you share it in whatever form you can.
Thank you. That means a lot. And yeah, I'll share it any way I can. I just don't know if any book publishers are going to sign up for that one.
All right. Well, we can put out a pamphlet together. We can co-publish on that.
Get the marketing materials together.
All right, let's let this man get to his daughter daddy conferences here in spring break, to which I can relate. Thanks, Joe Davis. You're the best.
All right, Matt. Always good to talk to you.